What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back. This is the Deep Corner, episode 35. I'm Rob St. Clair, and a very special guest today from the Junior Volleyball Association, the Director of Marketing, Education, and Partnership Development, a very impressive title. Ms. Bri Schunzel, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me, Rob.
Thanks, Bri. Excited to get you on. Our organizations get along really well. I'm excited to talk about our partnership and what the JVA has been up to. But first of all, how are you? How has the pandemic been treating you? It's hit everyone a little bit differently. What's your day to day kind of been like? Still trying to do volleyball when we haven't really been able to play that much.
Yeah, it's looking back, I think I've personally done a lot of growing. I know a lot of people probably can say they've been able to adapt as you go. And when we go back to normal, maybe it'll be another day. You just got to keep changing. Like I've changed personally a lot since March. Hopefully, I've become more patient having my kids at home all the time. Yeah, those parents that have their kids around them all the time. You don't get a lot of alone time, so you're just always got to try to get your stuff done, and then you got somebody else running in the room, and it's just different. It's just you got to take it day by day, and I think for me, like I've had to do a lot of self-talk, talking to my friends who are going through it. I mean, everybody's going through it, so I think it's really helped me to like connect with other people and just kind of joke about it a little bit if you can.
Yeah, the advent of like virtually hanging out with people over Zoom has actually been kind of cool, to be honest. I like it.
Yeah, yeah, and tech savvy. I
Hmm.
mean, the kids. Oh my gosh, my son's going through online learning right now. He's going to be so technologically advanced. But yeah, from the teachers to my parents, yeah, to me, just being able to kind of figure out how to keep in touch with everyone and
Yep.
stay sane.
Silver linings, I guess. So we'll get into the JVA a lot more later, but really quick, give me like a 10,000 foot overview on how the JVA has been this year. Like a lot of events have been canceled, the big ones that a lot of us were looking forward to, me and the VLA included. How is your organization doing right now? What's kind of the brief outlook?
I'd say, once the pandemic hit, we immediately, became a lot more united as a staff. The most important thing for us was communication. So, we're all at home. That we haven't been going in the office much. I've never gone in the office because I'm in Atlanta. So for me, my day to day stayed the same with how I connect with them, with my coworkers. But we've done a really good job of getting on calls on a regular basis, and every week it's changed. What kind of information we'd have to share with our members, with our tournament attendees, and we had to make some tough decisions, just like everybody, who has a facility or rents a facility, has people paying to play club volleyball for them. I mean, that's our members. They really needed us to step in and be there for them, and that's been our number one. Has been helping them work through it. So yeah, it's JVA is good. We're not great, but we are looking ahead and what this next year, what we can do for our members, and trying to host our events. Everybody's just watching and waiting and seeing, what's going to happen this winter. But we're just our number one goal, honestly, is just what can we do for our member clubs. And from day one, we've just been trying to put out so much education for them, listening to what they need, and just responding. So yeah, it's been a different kind of year for us, but I have to say we've probably been busier than ever.
Yeah, that
Um,
I believe. And the people on the VLA board, all of whom I've had on this show at some point, would agree with you and would definitely have similar experiences. It's been a crazy year just trying to wait day by day, hour by hour sometimes, on what you can pull off and when. So everyone's been tested in their adaptability. And you talked
yeah,
about I think a big thing that makes the JVA different that I want to get into later is how member focused you are and how much content you produce and how much you do for the people that you call your members, which is really cool. And I want to get into that a lot later. But first, I want to talk about your playing career a little bit because I've had all these guys on my show, all these professional volleyball players. I've had just a bunch of people with a bunch of different experiences. And to be honest, you're no different. You were an absolute stud in your day, at least according to our very good friend Coley Palakowski, who kind of hooked us up. Ohio University Hall of Fame, MAC Player of the Year, MAC Tournament MVP, honorable mention All American as a setter between '01 and '04. Like, there's some stuff on that resume. But in particular, I wanted to ask about your year that you played abroad, because you went to France between '04 and '05. And I've had a lot of guys on the show that have made that jump over to Europe, and everyone has different experiences. So, first of all, what's different from doing that in 2005 versus doing it in 2020?
Ooh, I think, I have to thank one of my teammates who is a year older than me, who went over and played in Finland. I'm like, oh, what? We can play
Like,
after
you can do
college?
that?
Yeah. And she went over and had that experience. And I kept in touch with her my senior year a little bit and um, started to think about it, and I didn't really know about it at all until then. And I think now it's just much more common. There's something after college. You can keep playing after college. And I think that's a big difference. Another thing is social media,
Yep.
just knowing a lot more of what it's like over there. My interaction of learning was emailing with one of the players that was currently playing for that club and just going off of what she said and trusting that versus visually seeing it, where I was going to live. And I didn't do the tour. But I did go through Bring It, and they've done an amazing job over the past how many years of helping hundreds of athletes go and travel and pursue their dream of playing. So I'm just fortunate. I think that I had a teammate that did do it and a coach that helped me get there. Yeah, so it was yeah. I would say that's the biggest difference, just knowing more about it now.
Yeah, I agree. I had no clue that that was an option until, I don't know, even the last 5 years maybe. It just, I don't know, back pre social media, it was a difficult thing to know very much about. And now,
Yeah.
like, I feel like I know everything, and I've never even done it myself.
Yeah, and I had this old computer in my apartment there, and getting onto the internet to MSN Messenger
Oh
or
man.
Skype. I would Skype, and it would be like the worst connection, but we just stay on for like an hour and try to have a conversation. It's just different times. But
So that is the
yeah,
thing that's hard about making the overseas jump, that is still hard today. You're in a foreign country. You're away from your friends and family. You're several hours ahead of them in time zone. Keeping in touch is difficult. Seeing people is almost impossible. There's a language barrier, probably, but depends on where you're playing. Talk
yeah.
about your experience with that a little bit, because every guy I've had on the show has had a slightly different perspective on all of those differences.
Yeah, it definitely varies based on where you go. In our situation, the club, we were 20 minutes south of Paris, quick train ride in the cutest little French town. I mean, it could have not gotten any more like Beauty and the Beast, like quaint, just beautiful little homes, hills, open the window, it's just you're looking over this beautiful city. Um, we had an apartment that was awesome, gave us a car, had to learn to drive stick. I didn't know French. I didn't know a lick of French. So going over there, I think I brought a dictionary, but I didn't ever open it.
Uh-huh.
But we had like an 83-year-old professor that we did class with. Me and when I say we, there's a few of us that, needed to learn French so that we could communicate with our teammates. A lot of them did not know English. Our coach, we wanted him to speak French, actually. He tried to speak English and it just didn't, it
Oh,
just didn't translate or just didn't, he wasn't able to say enough. We wanted him to really, be able to speak and teach and just, not hesitate when coaching us or like speak French. So we learned it, me and the Brazilians that were on my team, and that was pretty fun actually. I grew up, I have a Russian background. So I grew up hearing another language, being around another culture, going to parties and not hearing English. So for
mm.
me, it was not a huge adjustment. I kind of liked it in a way, and it made me actually appreciate my upbringing and speaking another language. Like it made me want to speak Russian again.
Oh,
So I
cool.
would get on
Very
these
cool.
calls with my parents, and I didn't really want to speak English, which I thought I would maybe want to. But no, it was the opposite. So that was kind of fun, taking in a new culture. And then what else helped me learn the language was coaching a women's team. I'll never
Oh,
forget.
very cool.
Yeah, like they put, so I trained on my team, and then 2 days a week I had a 2 hour, 2.5 hour practice with a women's team that was, almost just, they just wanted to play. So they paid like a very little amount of money to be on this team that we played regionally just within an hour's drive. They were about my age, so they would invite me to go to dinner with them. And I mean, I was their coach, but they treated me like a friend, and that helped me learn the language too, because first practice I didn't know anything, and I'm trying to demonstrate more than talk. And they're trying to learn what I'm saying too. By the last practice I was running the entire thing in French. So it's just,
Cool. Wow.
yeah, 9 months kind of evolvement of me, and being able to adapt to their situation and their culture. It was pretty cool.
That's really cool. I love that they got you exposed to that chance to coach and be with another team that wasn't the one you're getting paid to be on. That's really unique and impressive that you embraced being in a foreign country and the language and the culture so much. So how about the volleyball part? How big was that jump in level of play speed, I don't know, serve velocity, the speed that you ran your offense? Like what was different about the volleyball technical bit?
The speed is definitely a change. Um, Coming from Division 1, train hard for 3 hours and you're like dripping sweat and you just need an ice bath or like lay on your bed for the
Yeah.
rest of the night.
Yeah, I've been in those
You,
gyms. Yeah, I know how that
yeah,
is.
you like, hey, are we gonna work on any defense or we just serve passing the entire practice? It was definitely slower, less focus on the quick pace drills and high balls outside. Yeah, the tempo was different, but again, it was just a different kind of volleyball. It's still volleyball, and still loved it. It was just, yeah, like telling my libero to pass quicker and tighter to the net instead of 10 feet off the net and really, really high. That was funny. There's things like that I remember. I look back on, and it's just pretty cool how different volleyball can be wherever you go.
Yeah, I mean, hey, yeah, pass her tight. Let Bree go up and look cool. Set some
I'm
tight
front
balls.
row. I
That's
wanted
right.
to. Oh, come on
Come
now.
on. So now that you've been around the game for just forever, for years and years, your whole life really, since the year like 04, 05, when you were playing professionally, the game itself is really different now than it was 15 years ago. It's even different now than it was 10 years ago or even 5
Sure.
years ago. What, in your opinion, is the biggest? Is there a biggest single change that you can put your finger on right now that like players, I don't know, college, like watching a college match right now? What's the most different thing about watching a college match right now than when you played?
I think the level of serving has gotten significantly better. It's way harder to serve, receive, and get a good pass up to the net. So I think the serving game has really improved. So I mean, some women are jump serving like men.
Right.
It's pretty powerful. But also the use of the middles. I think depending on the system, right, and the coach, but you're seeing a lot more teams, I think, utilize the middles offensively. They're not just a blocker. Um, yeah, and I think just middles have gotten better. Being, when I was in college, the player I mentioned who played in Finland, she played back row. Our libero did not go in for her, so she was very, very unique.
Wow, a six rotation middle. Cool.
Yes, yeah, she was an incredible player, Laura Hageman, now Laura Cobb, but she played back row. I mean, now I think you are seeing more middles. Again, they're maybe not the tallest player on the team. The taller ones now are playing pin. They're becoming more involved. Just they're able to do more than just block. So I think the middles and serve. or two changes I've noticed personally.
I have a soft spot for middles. I was a middle for a long time, and then I was kind of like
Yeah.
a practice player middle in Purdue's gym in the Big Ten on the girls' side. So
Oh,
So
okay.
I know a thing or two about at least playing against middles at that level, and you're right, they are dynamic, and
And
there's a
that's a tough
right.
gym
It's a
to
tough gym.
play in. Purdue, they train hard.
They do, yeah. I loved every second I was in there. It was great, and they had some seriously good middles come through that program while I was there.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. They do a heck of a job training over there, Johnny and Dave.
Love John and Dave. So what
Mhm.
was it like transitioning out of being a professional volleyball player when you decided you were done with that, but staying in a volleyball career? Because there were a few years in between your year in France between when you joined the JVA in 2011. So I assumed that it was pretty obvious that you were always going to be doing volleyball in some capacity. But what did it actually look like as you were leaving France and figuring out what was next?
It's interesting you say that it was always obvious I'd be doing volleyball because when I finished playing, that was a really hard decision because I knew it was like such a big chapter.
Yeah.
Like we just ended that huge chapter of my life. And now I was going into the professional world. And I got a job in the city in Chicago. And when I moved there, I didn't have any plans for volleyball. I didn't know that the adult volleyball scene in Chicago is one of the best in the country. I
Yes,
had no
it
idea.
is.
And so I moved there in the fall and I met, some people, they reached out. They heard, I don't even remember how they heard, probably Skype, who knows how we get in touch, AOL Instant Messenger. And they heard that I'd played in college and I got invited to play in a women's tournament. I'm like, okay. I don't even know if I showed up in knee pads. I mean, it was really competitive. And I'm like, this is great. This gives me a way to play on the weekend. So I'm so thankful that that door opened and I was able to experience volleyball in a different way. It was more social. You would, there's no practicing. You would just go play. So it's just very, very different. But yeah, and then um, my career was not anything about volleyball. I worked at NCSA for a couple years in the city, and then when I moved, but I met my now husband Keith, who was coaching collegiate volleyball at the time, and I think that really like impacted the rest of my journey because now it's just volleyball 24/7.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, we moved to Indiana and then to North Texas, and when we were in Dallas, I ran a club for 14 and unders, and that was like my first taste of okay, I'm in the gym constantly, and I'm emailing the parents and hearing what they're worried about, what they want, for their kids, and really just learning about youth and junior volleyball. That was really a cool year for me, and I loved being in the gym.
Yep. That's
I
what you were
wasn't
used
wearing
to.
no dressing up.
Nope.
It was so different. It was just so different than what I thought my career would be. And then I realized, man, I can do this. Like I can do lessons, I can do clinics, run camps, run a club, and just be around volleyball and kids and help them enjoy the sport. It was a really neat transition.
Yeah,
I really,
there's actually a lot that you can do in the sport that isn't just coaching. There's like club directors is a whole nother universe that I don't really know that much
right.
about. It's fascinating the club scene, and now you made the jump from that to one of the club governing bodies in the JVA in 2011. You've been there a pretty long time. That's impressive. Probably one of their first full-time staff members. So there's a lot about the JVA that I want to get into because I grew up playing boys club and the JVA didn't have anything for boys back then. So my
Right.
experience with you guys has just been since like our VLA teams have been around and we're playing at your big events. But first, I want to get you through this little fun set of quick hitting like rapid fire questions that I put all my other guys through. So
All right.
just because you're not a VLA player doesn't mean you're exempt from the fun rapid fire ones. So just give me the first answer that pops into your head.
All right.
Ready? All right. Early mornings or late nights?
Early mornings.
There have been a bunch of those recently, and I don't know. You people are crazy. I don't understand it. What's the best music song or artist to warm up to for a game?
Oh, for game, Pitbull.
Good one.
Otherwise, Stevie Nicks all the way.
Another good one. What's the
Okay.
best day of the week?
Friday,
Stuff block or service ace?
stuff block.
Yep.
5-6. Yeah.
That's been pretty much everyone's answer. Best post game meal.
Oh, steak,
Good
potatoes.
one.
Yeah.
Hardest position in volleyball.
Oh my gosh. Probably the middle.
Middle's hard. I would say setter. I think setting's really hard. What's your favorite jersey number?
3.
Cats or dogs?
I have both, but cats are way easier. I'm gonna go cats.
I'm with you. I'm a huge cat person. I love them. What's your favorite sports team in any sport?
I'm from Cleveland. I have to stay loyal. So, I mean, the Indians, the Cavs, I don't care how bad we are, and the Browns, I don't care how bad we are.
Fair enough. I like that loyalty a lot. Who's your favorite athlete in any sport of all time?
Ooh. I mean, I'm a big LeBron James fan and Kobe Bryant fan. I love NBA. College basketball is awesome. I still love NBA. Yeah, probably those two.
Yeah, both great ones.
Mhm.
If you could have a superpower, what would it be?
Hmm. Probably to fly.
That would help
Yeah.
on the volleyball court, that's for sure.
Yeah. That'd be pretty sweet to just be able to bounce up in the
Uh
air.
huh. What sport are you the best at or were the best at other than volleyball?
Oh man, I wish I tried more sports. I don't think I would have been good at soccer. Um, I was okay at basketball. I just didn't have the height. And then I tried gymnastics and I was the handstand champ, but I was so unflexible. So I think I picked a good sport to stick with.
I
Was
think you,
volleyball.
I think you did too.
I think I did.
Which do you prefer, the beach or the mountains?
Beach,
What's your favorite color?
gray.
I think that's the first. Nobody said gray yet. And which is a stronger feeling for you, loving winning or hating losing?
Hate losing for sure. Yeah,
I
hate that
love
feeling.
I love everyone's answer to that. It's always interesting to me.
You just start thinking of memories right away,
Oh
right?
yeah, yeah, I do too. Yep, there are several that come to mind right away of
Game
each.
5. Ugh. Yeah.
Sure. All right, so like I said at the top of the show, your title, at least according to the JVA's website, is Director of Marketing, Education, and Partnership Development. That's a big title. There's a lot going on there. I kind of understand what each of those things might manifest themselves into day-to-day work. But if you could describe your role in just like a summary of what you do in one day, how would you do that? How would you tell the people, the lovely people listening, about what your job actually is?
Yeah. Well, initially it started with marketing. It was like, what is JVA? Who is JVA? Nobody knows really what JVA does or is, or there were some thoughts that maybe, we were something we weren't. So when I got brought in, it was to focus on marketing and branding, social media. And so that's evolved a lot into education because we've grown as an organization. We have 9 staff, and for me to be able to do those 3 things, it's because of the help and how much we work together. But yeah, I mean, education is part of marketing. Like we
Right.
have to share all the information that we do have, and that also goes with our partnerships. I mean, we align with so many great organizations, so it's actually the partnership side has been easy and enjoyable, to be able to work with people that are like just as passionate as we are about helping youth and junior volleyball club directors. So yeah, I mean, my day to day is juggling all 3 of those things, but at the same time, a lot of them align. So it's it keeps me busy, but again, like we have an amazing staff. And so we've developed, like, we're all in different places. A lot of people are doing that with their coworkers now, where you're finding ways to
Right.
connect them and stay in this. on the same page in what's going on. And I think we do a really good job of that at JVA, and that helps us helps me be able to keep all three of those things like really, really aligned and organized, or at least I hope so.
Yeah. So we talked a little bit about the education piece, and you're talking about how the JVA really cares about sharing content with its members,
Mm-hmm.
networking your members, engaging the athletes that play for you guys.
Mm-hmm.
That's something that is a first, at least for organizations that I know very much about. That's a huge thing that you guys, and the education bit is part of your title that I'm sure you've had a lot of hands on what that looks like. So during a pandemic, that's probably even more important because it's about the only thing that you can do. If nobody can come to your events, then I guess you can give them content, give them video, give them, I don't know, what does it look like? What have been the goals of content creation this year, especially for the JVA?
Um, well, it's how to keep your business alive, and
Yep.
over the last 10 years, probably more than 10 years, 20 years, um, junior volleyball has evolved into a business. You're not renting from high schools and running your club for 4 months a year. Now, some are, but a lot of clubs are year round now. They have their own facilities, they have staff, they're providing insurance for their full-time employees, and benefits, and it's figuring out, yeah, what your programs are in the summer, adding boys, adding beach. It's evolved, and you not only have 200 athletes for 4 months, you have 1,000 to 2,000 athletes for a whole year. So our main focus is helping these clubs stay financially afloat and giving them an outlet that is focused on junior volleyball, because you can look at resources USTA does an amazing job with their education and supporting clubs, soccer as well, very organized organizations out there. But at the end of the day, these volleyball directors are looking for volleyball specific information,
Right.
and we've really focused on providing that. One way we do that is keeping in touch with so many of our members day to day, whether it's email, a lot of it's texting, um, Zoom calls, which we're now doing monthly with our members, really wanting to know what their headaches are, and what they need, what they're looking for. And hey, have you found it? Can you share it?
Right.
Share it with us. We'll share it with our members. And we have so many directors that have been helping us do that. And they're even doing their own Zoom calls and now reaching out to other directors in their region. So it's us kind of helping to funnel that and focusing on, hey, we have information and we're going to share it. You have information. Can you share it? And making sure it just gets out to as many as we can, because it's been a tough time. Some clubs won't make it through this. Some clubs are adapting and they're gonna make it through, but it's gonna look, really hard for several months here. And yeah, it's been it's been great for us to feel like we can be there for them.
Yeah.
We've gotten a lot of directors that they didn't know where to look. They didn't know. These are people that are not business people. They got into this because of
They just
volleyball.
love volleyball. Hmm.
They want to coach volleyball, but now they need to know business too, and that's where we try to step in and help them
Yeah.
with that, guide them.
And a lot that you said there is so great and also so important. First of all, the fact that youth volleyball now is an industry couldn't be more true. Yeah, running a club is now a full-time job for the club directors, and they probably are in serious need of resources like the JVA provides, and that's huge. And then another thing is the moral of the story, and I think everybody knows this, is how community-based the sport and the world of volleyball is. And you guys are so intentional about being personal and being like face-to-face connected and first name basis with your members, and then so collaborative in how you share resources back and forth, and you guys kind of provide the pipeline, but the content, it comes from everywhere, which I think is awesome. That is such a great business model. And you guys have figured out a way for that financially to operate a little bit differently than some people might be used to as far as the governing body goes. So could you talk about that a little bit, how the JVA's business structure is a little bit different, especially as it pertains to running events?
Yeah, I mean, we started with just one event, the World Challenge, back in 2008, and that was, designed as a mid-year championship, and was how we funded our organization for the year. So we're nonprofit. When I started with JVA, we had maybe 200 member clubs, and today we have almost 1,300. So
Wow.
as we, a big way that we've grown has been our events, but also like this past year, especially, it's also become our education and kind of how we, our consultant essentially, and a voice, and kind of a, this place that like someone can pick up the phone and call and get an answer to a quick question they have about running their club. I mean, that's what JVA is designed to do. We're designed to be a voice and a trade association for club directors. So one thing that people think is like we're a governing body, we make rules. We're not. I mean, our members are AAU members, our members are USAB members. They're both. That's kind of more event related. What
Mm-hmm.
tournaments do you play in? At the end of the day, we're all club directors, and we want every single club to be a member of JVA, so that we essentially could be that voice for juniors. If there's an issue that comes up, we want to be able to, have a survey go out to our members and find out feedback, and then take their feedback and try to make a change, and just be this organization that stands up for them and their needs. So we have grown. We have 6 events now, and those are all partner events. So we do share the money with our partner clubs on those events. I mean, those are designed not for us to reap all the benefits. We want to make sure to run a really high quality event. And I think that's a big piece to JVA hosted events. People know they're going to be run well, they're going to be organized. We're going to put the participants first and their safety and health first. We issued 100% credits last year. We want to make sure to take care of everybody that's participating in those events first. But yeah, we've grown because of events, and then as more and more people experience what else JVA can provide, and they realize, okay, JVA is not just running events. That's not all they do.
Right.
We provide all of these other things. So yeah, that's kind of how we're different. We don't tell them you have to do this. We have certain recommendations. We have certain, I should say, guidelines, but more so, this is how a high quality, well-run event should be run.
Mm-hmm.
And we really try to share as much of that information out there. And at the end of the day, these club directors have to make that call.
Right.
And it's up to them. If they don't do a good job, they're probably not going to stick around, very long.
Yeah, you're kind of writing the best practices book on
Yeah.
how events should be run, and you're not keeping it to yourself. You're sharing it with everyone who wants to read it. And then obviously the 6 big events that you put on a year are the best example of how an event should be run. Man, that the couple that I've been to, even the last couple of years with some of our professional men's teams, those events are incredible. They are a well-oiled machine. It's amazing to watch you guys throw all the logistics together and get thousands and thousands and thousands of people into a convention center and pull it all off with almost no hiccups that I've ever noticed. So that's huge, and anyone in the country who is involved with volleyball can learn a lot from you guys. So your partnership side is where you might get to come into like relationships with organizations like ours, like the VLA. And we were so excited this year about the schedule that we had. We had World Challenge, we had the Columbus one, we were in your events, USAV's events, and AAU's events. We were going to be everywhere. We are going to be all over the country, and then pandemic, like impossible to plan for that. It was something that we were really excited about, that we're just going to have to wait another year and change to really do what we wanted to do this year. But some of our teams have played at JVA events before, and we kind of have a little preview of what that might look like. So, what is from your experience being at some of the events that we've also been at? What is so great about having professional men's teams at an event at a bunch of just junior girls? Why does that work so well?
It's different. Like you can watch something on TV, but when you see it in person and you see how high they're jumping, how hard they're hitting, how like tough they are, and they're having a blast. I mean, it's just the coolest thing to watch in person. Volleyball at a high level needs to be experienced in person. I mean, I
Totally.
tell beginners all the time because they don't see volleyball on TV. I'm like, you are playing one of the hardest sports. Kudos to you. Ball can't hit the ground
Right.
so hard. All these other sports, the ball can hit the ground. It's way too easy. Volleyball is one of the hardest sports, but also they don't know the game because they don't see it enough.
Right.
And then they start seeing the game and they think they really know the game. You got to see it live to really know what that ceiling, what that opportunity looks like. And to watch like girls, boys, watch a high level men's volleyball match. I mean, there's really not a lot like it, you know. And I think that's what was really awesome for us is to see like the crowds and crowds of people, and they're texting saying, "You got to get over to court 67. You got to come see this," and they're like sitting on their parents'
Yep.
shoulders. And I mean, it you just have to experience it live. And so it was really cool to be able to do that in front of 800 teams, 20,000 plus people attending the World Challenge. That was really awesome.
Yeah, it was awesome for us too. It's perfectly free and needed exposure for us is to get eyeballs on our product as the VLA and get people to know our teams. And but another thing that I really liked about it was how some of the guys on the show have said this. Like, there's no ropes between the fans sitting courtside and the guys on the court. When the match is over, people are coming on the court, taking pictures with the guys, getting autographs. Like, it's so personal. The interaction between these guys who, like, some of whom, like Loy Ball, for example, is the top of the top in terms of like where he's been in the volleyball world, but everyone else in between can just like go and talk to a kid who wants to be at that level someday. It's so amazing to get that personal interaction with people that want to consume volleyball. And the thing is that they didn't even know that they wanted to consume volleyball until we put volleyball in front of them at a JV event or something like that. And then they become huge volleyball fans. Because, like you said, it's got to be experienced in person. So that's something that my organization, the VLA, is so excited about. And we're hoping that we can contribute at least a little bit to the JVA's events for how much
Yeah,
awesome
we
stuff
love
that you're
it.
providing to us.
Yeah, I know. I mean, after you guys attended, like those teams attended, it was really neat. I mean, we knew, okay, we need to do this again. We need to be able to offer that to as many times, as many opportunities as we can. It's a no brainer. And the
It is kind of a
relationship,
no-brainer.
yeah, the relationship we've had, with Loy and the team at VLA has been awesome, really awesome. And just to see, the momentum, and it was growing, and hopefully it can continue to grow here as we get back to events happening. But yeah, we're excited. We're excited about working together, continuing to put that in front of our keys, and yeah, making it happen. It was pretty awesome. Again, you got to experience it live.
Right,
Yeah,
just got to experience it live. Just come see the guys. You won't believe it. Um, I wanted to ask about JVA on the boys' side.
yeah.
I think most people know the JVA for your gigantic junior girls events. You have six all across the nation, huge events that are all girls, at least so far that I know of. And
Mm-hmm.
this is I don't really know very much about this. So where's the JVA at now as far as junior boys goes, and what's kind of the plan? What are your goals, I guess, to get involved in the boys side of the game? Because right now it's really all USAV. Like AAU doesn't really do boys either. So like I grew up playing USAV boys club just like everyone else did. So
Right.
what are the changes on the boys side? At least I don't know that I might not know about.
Again, like our main focus is doing what makes sense for clubs. We're not going to go creating an event that, we don't have anybody helping us with, saying, yeah, we want to do this. This is really important. I mean, we're constantly talking to club directors, both boys and girls. And so the past few years, it's been a passion of ours to now focus on boys as well as beach, and continue to offer resources for girls. But boys and beach now, they need to have a focal point in our programming and our goals for the next few years. So events is obviously one of those ways. Teams want something to work for. They want to play in a big tournament, and these club directors, some of them are looking for some other options, and just to have options, wants to be able to choose A or B. You don't want to always have to just do A,
Right.
and especially if there's conflicts in scheduling or location or price, whatever. And so, yeah, I mean, we're looking at a boys event, hopefully in 2021, and then, just working with other clubs to create some more opportunities. So that's definitely on our radar and something our event staff is working hard on. A lot of phone calls that go into it, a lot of back and forth, convention centers, gyms. Yeah, I'm trying to make it work. But most importantly, it's figuring out, what the needs are, what the needs are in that area. And if they're looking for some more options, then we're going to help them.
Yeah, the boys game is growing at a huge rate. I think it's the fastest growing junior sport in the nation, at least if I'm not mistaken about that. But yeah, the boys side is growing huge, and if and when you guys do host a junior boys event, you better believe that the VLA will be there, because that's going to be an even bigger smash hit for the boys than it already is for the girls. So
Absolutely.
we are excited
Yeah.
about that possibility.
Yeah, and again, they need to see it.
They do.
They need to see more volleyball. It's really a no-brainer once these boys are they are around it and they see what could be next for them. It's so exciting. Yeah, and to be able to host a boys junior event and have an 18s court over there and a 12s court over there, and they're able to go, in the same gym and not all these multiple gyms where they're split up. They can finish their match and they can go watch an 18s level match, and just they're going to love that sport forever. I mean, it's really just an amazing place. It's an amazing opportunity to be in these large, and again, who knows when that'll be, but these large facilities where 12s can go watch 18s and, just learn the game and love the game even more. So yeah, we're hoping to be able to grow the game, provide more education for our boys clubs, help our girls clubs, create a boys program if they don't already have one. Most of them, I think, are talked about it. We've sent surveys out, and about half of our members have boys programming, which
Yeah,
is
that's
really cool.
great news.
Yeah, yeah. And so starting that program, and then, within a couple of years, a lot of these clubs their teams are exploding just because they created that one boys program with 10 kids. A couple of years later, they got 40, 50. So
Right.
yeah.
I have a funny story that just popped into my head, that like you said, that the junior boys, they need to see the game. They need to see it played at the highest levels, because otherwise they don't really know what they're doing or what they're looking at. The first year I ever played club, my 17s year, I played for Adversity on the north side of Chicago, and like
Yeah.
the first day of tryouts, one of the coaches got us in there, and he asked us, "Does anybody know who last year's NCAA National Player of the Year is?" Nobody knew.
Mm-mm.
Well, else knew. Like I fell in love with watching the men's game just randomly, because the men's USA team happened to show up on my TV in the summer of 2009, and I got hooked on
Cool.
watching it. I got very lucky, and then yeah, that the Stanford team that won the national championship in 2010. Fell in love with that team, and then that really got me watching, got me into it. But I couldn't believe that nobody who was trying out to play club volleyball, like not just for their high school team, trying out to play club, didn't know who the best player in the NCAA was. Like, that didn't make sense to me. So that's kind of always stuck with me, and that we need to put like real men's volleyball in front of people. People need to see it. Like, juniors need to see it. It doesn't make sense for them not to see it, because they can't be the players that they may or may not even know that they want to be someday if they don't know what the next level looks like.
Yeah. And we host a derby party usually every year. So it's like first weekend of May, and
Hmm.
not this year, it was September, but it always falls in the men's championship.
Oh man.
And so, I mean, as soon as the race ends, like we're switching it to the men's final or the semis, whatever's that Saturday. The finals that
Final,
Saturday.
yeah.
And we're playing it. You know, we have people over, they've never watched men's volleyball. And you see like people come over to the TV and they're like, wow. You know, they're like, so this is collegiate men, like this, they're good.
Oh
You
yeah.
know, and they enjoy watching it. It's a really fun, fast-paced sport. They're used to watching the Atlanta Braves, you know, which is awesome, but it's slow. You know, you're watching them just get ready to bat more than actually bat. Um, so yeah, we love to like expose people to sport here at our house. And like my son plays baseball, he's 7 going on 8, running this beginners class, and now his teammates are coming to it. They've never played volleyball. They're having a blast, and they're like, "I'm going to go back next week, mom." You know, and so it's it just needs more exposure. Yeah, and I think it could really take off.
Totally. Well, the VLA owes the JVA a lot for helping us with that exposure, and we'll get even more of that in the next couple of years. Everyone's got their story from like the moment that they really got hooked on the game. Sometimes it's a definite moment, sometimes it's a tournament or a year or watching something or whatever. But it's a sport that inspires like love in kids your son's age to people my age or your age or much older. It's awesome. It's part of why we love it and have dedicated our lives to it in some way.
Yes, I watching the 80-year-old players at
Yes,
USAV
at adult
adult national
nationals, the
fist the ball
best
over the net, one arm, and celebrate. I mean, I'm like, that's gonna be me.
rallies
Like
that
when
go
I
on for
played
like two and a
adult
half
national,
minutes.
yeah, like that's gonna be me. I want to keep playing. I want to be at adult nationals when I'm that old. Like, it's pretty awesome. Yeah.
The last adult nationals I was at had the like men's open courts right next to the 78 and over courts, so there was some fan overlap there. It was just spectacular to watch both of those courts play for different reasons. It was so great. It's just so
Yeah.
much inspiring to watch that.
Yeah. Yeah. That's pretty cool to have them all in one place.
All right, Bree. Before we get you out of here, what is next for the JVA? I'm sure the any events that are going to happen have probably already been announced that are official. If there are some that are, just waiting on clearances or waiting on the world to get back to a little bit to normal, then I'm sure we'll know about them as soon as we can if everyone follows all the JVA stuff, which they should. So what are you guys looking forward to, I guess, till the end of 2020? What are the JVA's goals?
Well, we're looking ahead to the AVCA virtual convention,
Oh, that's
which
right.
is, you know, unfortunate it's virtual, but at the same time, how cool that even more people will have that opportunity to maybe join in that wouldn't be able to travel there normally. So we're working with AVCA, and we're putting together the club management education track for them. So we've got a lot of club directors, experienced seasoned club directors presenting in that club management track. We're doing on-court and classroom for that. And then we're working with Beach Nation on the beach education for convention. So yeah, it's a lot of collaboration. Our partner, Art of Coaching, we're putting out a club management guide here this fall that's going to be a whole series of videos. It's taking you through how to run a club. So it's for beginner club director through advanced club director, you know, HR, budgeting, finance, running tryouts, paying your coaches, hiring, firing, all of that stuff is going to be in this guide. So that's going to be rolled out this fall. We're really excited about it.
Cool. That's very
Yeah,
comprehensive.
and just keep planning with Boys and Beach and how we can help those programs grow and get more events out there.
When that stuff does come out, where can the people find it? Is it on the JVA's website, or is there like a YouTube channel, or obviously your social medias everyone can follow? Will that be on the website or where?
Yeah, definitely jvavolleyball.org, Instagram, JVA Volleyball. We're always sharing the updates there. And we have a newsletter you can sign up for on our website. So you make sure that we push the information out to you.
Great. Everyone, please go follow those things. Follow the JVA. Their socials are great. There's a lot of all kinds of volleyball content, like we've talked about today so far, and then also next year, hopefully, there will be some overlap in our two social medias between the VLA and the
Yes,
JVA when we're in the same place together again.
definitely.
Well, Bree, thanks so much for hopping on. This has been awesome. I'm excited to get the JVA and its organization and its thoughts and its values in front of our fans, and vice versa, because like I was saying, there is going to be a lot of overlap between the two of us the next few years. So we love you guys and your organization. We thank you for your support, and thank you for hopping on. This has been awesome.
Right back at you. Thanks, Rob. This is fun. Enjoyed it.
All right, thanks, Bri. Everyone else, thanks for joining us. We'll see you next Tuesday. We're trying to I'm trying to expand this show into a lot more than just like direct VLA people. So anyone else who you think you might want to see on the show, let me know in the comments. Let us know on Instagram, whatever. I'm excited to expand the show's range a little bit. So until next time, thanks everyone for joining us.